Is the camera moving? I feel like it's a
Well, because
wider view.
the computer, it's back behind there and the other, it fried, we think. And so we can't, like, this would be your big computer monitor with that camera. So we had to rig up this little camera up there in the corner. And now I'm running the meeting here on this instead of the bigger computer. That all happened today at like.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, things happen. They do. And then you adjust.
Good thing you're problem solving. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I am ready.
Oh, all right. Okay, we'll get our meeting started with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nobody. All right, announcements.
So want to let you know Classified Education Week is the first week in March. You'll have a resolution later on in your packet recognizing their hard work. Traditionally what happens during those appreciation weeks, the district office takes the Wednesday and we provide everybody with breakfast burritos. We try to change it up, but they like the burritos, so we'll just go with that. Keep it simple. And then the admin or the schools take the other days to show our appreciation staff. So we'll do some kind of fun social media stuff as well. So there's a resolution, like I said. As a reminder, so again, we're going into your very busy season. So looking at your calendars, it's going to be important. So March 11th is your bond advisory committee, and I think that's Henry and Jenny tag team that. That's at 6:30. And then March 12th is a special meeting for my evaluation. I'm assuming that starts at 6. I haven't heard different from Christian.
I don't know why I put it as 5, but
is it 5?
I have not heard different.
Okay, well, let's check with her.
Yes, please.
We will confirm what's going on there.
I don't know what time.
Okay, so those two meetings are coming up. And that's all I have for announcements.
Thank you. Approval of minutes. Did anybody have anything? Okay, I will. I move that the Jervis School District Board of Directors approved the minutes from our school board working and regular session for January 15th. I have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Didn't have any public forums, so we report.
All right, let's go to student council. We have Madeline and Gabby here tonight.
Well,
Is that who I got?
You had to go to work today.
Oh, okay. I don't have Gabby here tonight. How you guys listening?
Hello, are you ready?
Hi.
I just came from practice, so I've been all the time.
We're great. We're going to practice.
All right. So for this February's board report, we have that on Friday the 13th. Our boys basketball had their senior night, and our seniors were Iwan Avgi, Nikita Bonyov, Alex Turan, and Alex Kuznetsov. And this past Monday, they played playoff games. However, sadly, they didn't win, so their season is over.
And we also had our girls basketball senior night on Friday. They were Lucero Morales and Adriana Lopez Ruiz, and their season has also ended.
And then for wrestling, we had 5 students who made it to state, which is really exciting. 3 are from Jervis and 2 are from St. Paul. The following are Jose Santos, Angel Cortez, Braden Lucero, Max Hills, and then Hayden Miller.
For track and field, practice will officially start next month, but people have been practicing even before that. They
Yes.
started practicing last month.
You're getting into condition. Sometimes I'm walking around and I see them wearing, I'm like, that's dedication. And then for softball, they had a meeting during lunch with their coach today.
For our clubs, FFA today had a meeting to discuss the state capital district. Lucero was one of the recipients to receive the state degree. They also had a mandatory meeting recently to discuss with their members about who wishes to show animals and participate in the state convention.
And then for NHS, just last week, they executed the yearly Vallegram sale. Basically, what they do is they sell roses, cards, and teddy bears to students so they can buy and show somebody they appreciate. And then yesterday, they had a Valentine's party, better late than never, right? To celebrate the great success of the sale.
For our Águilas de Oro Club, we are planning to do a family night in May, so families can have fun and enjoy an evening together.
I believe it's May 2nd. I am not quite sure though. And then for the England, they're working on their new February edition and it's said to be released very soon.
For the yearbook is working on finalizing the book as the deadline is approaching fast. They are in the final stages of editing and revising.
I've gone into that classroom and they're stressing, but they're getting there.
We also have senior ads still soon.
And then for our other events, for evening school is continuing to be available for all students who need help with homework or just study session. And many students are staying there to not fall behind and just to keep up with all the work handed to them.
For our college and career, we had a meeting for the Cougar Club. The meeting was to discuss, to give out our advisors advice on what to do, like what we need help with. And on Tuesday, we had Portland State University come to talk about their school. And today, the council has provided a Temecula scholar session, and tomorrow they will be providing a scholarship work session the whole day for seniors.
And then for Dornbecker Children's Hospital, the practice is going very strong. We're all getting our outfits ready and the pageant is approaching soon. It's gonna be March 14th at 7 p.m. in the cafeteria.
For leadership, next week, leadership will have a spirit week to celebrate FFA month. The following spirit days are Monday, PJ and Boots Day, Tuesday, Hunter Safety Day, Wednesday, Country versus Country Club Day,
Oh, wow.
Thursday, Dress to Impress or Career Day, and Friday, Blue and Gold Day.
I like some of those options. Those are kind of fun.
You're invited to join.
And then next Friday, we have our monthly Student of the Month Assembly. And also, I don't know if you guys have heard, but this past Tuesday, students assembled a walkout regarding their distaste for ICE, and many students were at the corner of ICE. Yep, that's our report for this month.
Awesome,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Any
Question, do you guys, are you having an FFA banquet, fundraising banquet this year? Do you know?
I don't have to ask Lucero, but I believe so.
Okay, can you get me the date for that, so I
Yeah.
can get it on the calendar?
Yeah, sure. We'll ask her.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, up next, we have Sarah Bradley, the elementary school.
Everybody.
Hello.
Good evening. You have to see, I'm just gonna click through, but.
I will,
I,
sorry.
you know, that's okay. One less thing for me. All right. By all
Say
means.
next slide and I will. be
Next
banned.
slide. Okay, well, welcome everybody. Next slide.
Oh, yeah, let's go
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Okay.
is that it?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. Thank you. So tonight I'll be talking about, most recently, I wanted to highlight curriculum and framework for teaching because I've been doing evaluations the last couple weeks. And so I've been in a lot of classrooms. I was counting tonight. I'm like, yeah, that feels about right. 15, like trying to do two to three a day and just the rewarding work of that, and then also just balancing that with all the other things that we're doing. And then tonight I'll also be talking again about attendance is just such a large part of my job still, and where a lot of time is invested because it's really important. And then also I want to talk about Youth Truth and our counseling department and how they're responding to that. So next slide, please. It's okay. I can talk. It's about staff evaluation. So I almost brought my computer up here. So there it is.
All right.
Okay, we're in business. Just my focus when I'm doing evaluations, of course, it's talent ed driven, but then also, connecting to student outcomes. So what's happening in the classroom with engagement, critical thinking, and really this the idea of agency. So when we talk about engagement, it's really like that's we're trying to engage children, but really what we really want is agency. We want kids to be in the driver's seat. We want to have them the captains of their own ship. And so the idea that, trying to get them to reflect on practice, collaborate with each other, because the learning usually between two people, when it's going back and forth, there's higher places that you can get to when you're collaborating with your peers, and then also the teacher input. So trying to emphasize growth over the actual evaluations, teachers are always, when I try to give them a heads up, like, hey, this week I'm, going to be in and out of classrooms like I usually am, but you'll see me taking notes and, and we'll have some sort of feedback loop that happens afterwards. And usually I'm met with like, oh gosh, and they start to say, well, this week's just been a hard week. And I'm like, it's okay. Really, it's really about me coming in and seeing all the great work that you're doing and that the kids are doing. And then also really asking you to reflect on your practice and what's an area that you want to grow in. And you want, where's the area of things are going well, like what's going well in your practice. And then where's an area of growth that you would like to hone in on. And I can come back in the different cycles and be looking for that. And then highlighting the idea of feedback and coaching, so that those pre and post observations are really important. Meeting with teachers before I go in for formals, and then after, and being able to, like I said, look and ask them what they thought went well in the lesson and where are some areas of growth. And then, of course, like as I'm taking my notes, I'm thinking through like little instructional shifts that I'm thinking could make a big difference, and making notes about that so that when we meet, we can talk about those as well. And then of course, just aligning, making sure that what we're doing is aligning with our school and district priorities, and just increasing engagement for each and every student is always kind of the focal point of that. Next slide, please. I can't remember what comes after this, so I think it is, oh, yes. Awesome. When I was at, thank you. When I was at WESD a few months ago, we actually were highlighted as a school district, but also Jervis Elementary specifically, that in October, now I'll talk about where we're at now, but I just was really proud of this. And I haven't had a chance to really talk about this because the last time I was with Creighton talking about our strategic goals, we were actually at that point, so October of 2025, we had increased our student attendance regularity by almost 20%. So I was really excited about that, and I sent that to Dandy. Not only, are we doing this great work, but we were also highlighted as a school and district in the region that's doing really great work around attendance. And so the next slide, I sent this email to staff basically saying, woohoo, good job. This is the work that you're doing. And the idea that the strategic goal really is that first level, or that first layer, is teachers, Dale and myself and Sophia kind of go down. Well, on Wednesdays, we go down and look and see who are all the unexcused absences. And we highlight, okay, what's the teacher's responsibility? What is my responsibility? What is Dale's responsibility? And then what's Sophia's responsibility? And who are we sending letters to? Who am I making home visits to? I just did a home visit today. Charlene's like, you're gonna walk all the way. And so my beacon sometimes is not quite, I'm like, it's only 0.7. But then the reality is, it's what I thought. And it was kind of cold today. So Dale was like, gosh, it's kind of cold out here. I was like, next time we'll drive. Anyway, so just really staying abreast to what our numbers are and what's really going on with families. So we were able to have a kind of a interesting conversation with a mom today going into the, walking over there was a perspective and a vision that kind of teachers and special services had. And then when we got there and we got to the door and really had a conversation with mom, we realized that things were actually much different than what we thought they were. I won't go into the privacy of all of that, but just knowing, sometimes realizing or thinking through making that bridge or that connection when you're standing outside the door of the family, and realizing that, again, I don't want to say a small shift, but just being able to let the student, as a fifth grade girl, body's changing, have more bathroom opportunity, and really put mom's mind at ease and help mom realize that she can send her daughter to school more during this specific time, and just be able to be reassured that her body is being taken care of, and those sorts of things. So that was a great connection we were able to make today. In addition, also, here's kind of the sticky part or the hard part sometimes is, with inter-district transfers, really, driving a hard line and having some of those really hard conversations with parents and saying, I'm looking at your kids' attendance over the last 4 years. And, we've had numerous conversations, we've done home visits, and we've also brought you in, we've talked to your child. And let's look at a different schooling situation for your kid, because this isn't what's best for your kid. Your kid's really great, and we want to keep him here, but at the same time, it's just really not in your kid's best interest. You're literally 5 minutes from your home elementary school, and if he has a hard morning, going to school a little bit in the afternoon versus being 25 minutes away and not being able to access any school at all, this is what's in your best interest for your kid. And so those conversations are really hard, and they're hard on us because we love the kids, but then they're also hard for parents too. So, but always trying to keep in mind what's best for kids and what's going to serve them the best in the long run. So those are sometimes the harder conversations around attendance. But most of the time, you look at a kid and you're like, oh my gosh, you see my class I did it today. I was like, I just looked at your attendance. You have not missed a day in a month, and just how exciting that is to be able to walk up to them and really congratulate them on that level. So I also want to point out that we are continuing to do family connections and family nights. So for example, tonight, again, I think I happened to be a board meeting the last time we did a family night, but family art night is happening over at the school. And I think the last time we did family board game night, 250 families, 250 people, not families, but 250 people showed up to engage and be a part of that. So it is really making a difference, I think, for parents to have that school connection, and want to, really partner with us, because that's a lot of the work and a lot of the language is like, how do we partner together to make coming to school you just get up and you come to school. It's not a question of if you should come today or not. So next slide, please. Wanted to talk about Youth Truth. So when the data came out, we met as a staff and we looked at student feedback was one of the areas that our counseling department happened to already be kind of talking about bullying and friendship and those sorts of things. And kind of what some of the results that came out in Youth Truth was a little more in alignment with some of the wonderings that kids they had been sharing before. So our counselor Julie Schnell put out a survey, and we've done focus groups around this question, which is the friendly test. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much does the friendliness of your peers impact your desire to come to school each morning? And so each group of students from 3rd grade, a few from each class, and 4th grade, a few from each class, and 5th grade. This happens to be the 5th grade one, but I just think some of the questions are really awesome, and some of the kids' responses, of course. And of course, in 3rd grade, they're saying a lot of kids said 10. Like 10 out of 10, my friends really, impact my want to come to school every day. Another great question was, one student mentioned feeling left out during recess. How can we make sure everybody feels included? And I thought this was one of the best answers there. And there was a lot of answers, a lot of good answers. But one of the answers was that we might comfort that student and change the game based on their personality. So if they're feeling left out or it's not working out, how do we change what we're doing to provide a more inclusive environment so that everybody can feel included or play? What is one thing teachers could do to help everyone feel like they truly belong? And one student said, give everyone a chance. Give everyone a chance to say something and then come back to that student if for whatever reason they couldn't have the answer there right away. I thought that was kind of kind of a pivotal answer. I don't want to read every single one, but just ones that kind of stood out to me. When students are rude or disrespectful, does the current way teachers handle it, telling them to stop, work? If not, what should happen? And they said maybe give 3 warnings, a hug, send to the principal's office. I said, yep, I see those kids come through. Another good question. A student mentioned that they feel like they have too much to learn at once and you feel overwhelmed. How do you feel like do you feel like you have enough time to understand a topic before moving on, and what would help? And several students, because a little plus sign says several students, they said break it up. Breaking up, so differentiation, when teachers differentiate, we break it up into smaller pieces. It's easier to kind of swallow. They said if you were the boss of the bathroom, what would you do to fix things? Well, put signs with rules and no messing around. And the paper towels on the floor are kind of a problem. Of course, there's questions about recess and, how would you change that? And every kid imaginable always says longer. But they also say, which I thought was interesting, they were like, make sure you're kicking below the hip, making sure that your kicks are below the hip so the balls don't go over the fence, because then they have less balls to play with. And then this was good. I thought a great way to end the survey was the best part. What's one thing that makes you most excited to come to school in the morning? And kids said, well, recess, of course, but Miss Passon and Halloween. And they said, I thought this was interesting too. They said they want to learn, but they also want to graduate, which I thought, how amazing. Like the elementary schools kids are already thinking about making sure that they're putting themselves in alignment to graduate. One kid said to not get rejected with a job. It's just, yes, I guess he's really thinking down the road.
Maybe he's already applied.
Yeah. And so basically these were kind of I went ahead and put the data in there for you about when they met and who the note takers were. And so we did a variety of different note takers when the groups met. Next slide, please. Just it's a little cookie. Yeah, and I think these are just pictures of kiddos, which I always like to highlight because one of them specifically is like near and dear to my heart. He's a kid that I have gone over to his house quite a bit every morning, and now he just comes. Most mornings, tardy, so we're working on that. But it makes me so happy to see him walk into school every day. And the other kid over here is kind of a tricky kiddo too, and he's actually doing really, really good right now. So, just pictures of the kids. Wanted to end with that. Any questions?
How did you determine the questions to ask? Was that
Julie? Yeah, Julie did. I'm unsure. She looked, well, actually, I can speak to that a little bit. We looked at the student, she looked at, I looked at it, but she was the one, I don't want to take credit for what she did, but we looked at the Youth Truth survey results. And based on the survey results, she designed questions that got at some of the things that kids said were bothering them. And so she wanted to flesh out a little more and make sure that what we were trying to do or the steps we're trying to move forward is actually what they were saying. And so I think that's what she was doing by really fleshing out some of these questions. Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to highlight the data that you shared in your packet with regard to literacy and math. So I had looked at the 4th and 5th grade, kind of the little stumbling that we're having there. And we have a meeting set up for next week or the week after. I can't remember.
I think it's next week.
And to talk about next steps. How do we help our 4th and 5th graders? But I would say that definitely both content areas are going in the right direction.
Exactly.
I'm really pleased.
Yeah.
With
Thanks,
what's happening. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Show and tell.
Evening. I've been fighting a sickness. I was homesick.
No.
I don't know if you've heard anything about the middle school, but Friday, no exaggeration, half of my staff was gone on Friday. And every time we looked up, there was a kid walking in that was sick, and there's several things going through. So I apologize. So Jervis Middle School. Next.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay. So we have the first Friday of each month. We have a monthly spirit challenge. This was actually a month ago. And the 8th grade one, this was a cheer thing. We have different things that they do cheers, competitions, challenges. And the 8th grade one, so this one boy, this is P, he comes running down, and there was a couple teachers that agreed to do this. I was not one of them. It's a paper plate with, they call it a pie, but it's basically whipped cream. And that is Brandon Jones, our PE teacher, and you can see the result of it. And the kids, of course, loved it. So that was part of the reward for the 8th grade. And then on the next slide, you will see currently right now the 6th grade one, which is exciting to see. So they won because the Thursday before they were challenged for Spirit Week to wear green or gray. We did not do black because every one of them wears black. So we wanted them to have a little bit of a challenge. So they had to wear, and it had to be shirts or sweatshirts on the top half, mostly gray or mostly green, and the 6th grade one for that day. So again, their prize is, which is awesome, they leave 5 minutes early for recess. They get the balls, they get to go early. And it's also free. Right now it is in middle school, it is testing. We did ALPA testing a little early, so I don't know if you guys know this, but Liz Lopez came back after winter break and turned in her resignation. As of yesterday, she was driving across the country to Minnesota, St. Louis, Missouri. And so because of that, instead of doing ALPA testing right now, we did it early. And so ALPA testing is really finished. I think we could find out, fingers crossed, that this is actually a really good thing. Last year we did iReady testing first and then ALPA testing. And it's nice to flip-flop it because the kids get burnout and they get tired. And so I think it's really smart that we did ALPA testing early. So fingers crossed that this is going to be a really good result. We are finishing up right now iReady testing, which is a diagnostic testing on the computer to see halfway through the school year, how are the kids doing in reading and math. Most of the students are done. A few of them are finishing up. I hate to say it, a lot of it is being lagged because of the sickness. I mean, literally, we have about 60% of our students present in class. When I wasn't there on Tuesday, I was told, Tony, you should have seen the classes. There were like 10, 11, 12 kids in a classroom where there should have been 20, 25. It's really hit the school bad. The LPA, the local performance assessment, this is something we started doing last year. I know the high school and middle school does it. I don't know if the elementary does it. Basically, it is kind of what teachers have been doing all along, but we just put a name to it. But they have a unit that they should be finishing about right now. And then at the end of that unit, there is a comprehensive test that they take, a local performance assessment, to see how they've done with that unit. And then when it's summative, so it's 70% of their grade. And then that is put in the grade book, and we put LPA so that you know that that is the local performance assessment that's being done. This is pretty cool. So Gear Up is a grant that we got. And it pays for Sophia over at the high school, for the high school and middle school, for career and college. And she sent out she did it last year, which we only had a couple teachers do it, but this year I really promoted it. And this is all the money that the middle school has gotten, over $21,000 from the Gear Up awards for multiple things. The one sad part that Gear Up doesn't do, it doesn't pay for consumables, which is too bad because that's what we use a lot, colored pencils and, stuff, play and stuff to do stuff with. Especially for projects and all that. They don't pay for any of that. It's got to be for items that they can continue to use year after year. We have 2 more. Brandon Jones put his in a long time ago, so I'm not sure what has happened with that. We need him to bug them about it. Kim Vela put one in about 2-ish weeks ago to get some more microscopes. The amount that you can do is up to 2,500. So you can see Lucas Hill did really well. He was right under 2,500. Helen Warburg did put a request in to say, I didn't spend 2,500. there's a couple things I forgot. Can I add to it? And they said yes. So I think she has requested a little bit more. So pretty exciting. It was very fun to see those coming through. Youth Truth Survey. So I am not very good with the computer, so I was trying to copy and paste so you could actually see the bar graphs. I couldn't figure it out. So this is just kind of a real quick synopsis. The positive things that we saw is engagement. Engagement has gone up from last year. So 78%, which as you know is something we're really trying to push. Academic challenge, I'm not pleased with it, but it was a little better from last year, 68%. Students said, this is all student, by the way, that it makes me think, 74%. Culture of respect in the school, 79%. The students feel welcome, 78%. Working with other students is another thing we've really been pushing. I love this, went up to 77% from it was about 47% last year. That's a huge increase. And then also receiving support from staff, from teachers, from instructional aides, 76% this year, up from 49% last year. So those are two big jumps from last year. The two big struggles, and again, this is student, is when they were asked, I take pride in my work, 39% said that they took pride in their work. This is down from, I estimated about 58%, which was not great last year, but 39%. I think that's really sad. We just presented this, by the way, to the staff yesterday, and a couple things came up. This was taken in November. They wondered, did the kids really understand what pride meant? Maybe that is part of it, but I think most of the kids, especially 7th and 8th, I think know what pride means. And then I think this goes hand in hand. I try to do my best in school. 26% said yes, they do, down from a 50% from last year. That is huge. And honestly, in my opinion, not surprising, because seeing lots of failing grades, especially 6th grade, which is amazing to me. It is a big shift from where it's been in the past. It was the opposite in the past. 6th grade were the ones that came in really excited and working really hard, and I'm going to try to please the teacher, and we hardly had any failing grades. Every 3 of the 5 Fridays, we have Fun Friday. Failing grades, they go to study hall for that last half an hour. The other kids go to the Fun Friday. And wow, I think we had 56 of the 72 kids in 6th grade in study hall last Friday. What's going on? So that is my question. What is going on? So my next step is I'm going to be doing focus groups. Aloha and Fenya didn't know this, but I'm volunteering them with me. We're going to be pulling like small groups of kids, like 3 or 4 at the most, bring them in and just have a chat with them. Can you explain, especially these 2 areas? What does this mean to you? Why is this happening? Do you try hard? Why don't you try hard? You know, do you want to? I want to see. One thing that came out from the staff is they think part of it is kind of a reflex to protect themselves. They say, no, I don't try my hardest because it's too hard for them. They're not able to do it. So it's easier to say I'm failing, I'm not trying my hardest because I don't care. But really, I can't do it. So I'm hoping they will be honest with us and tell us one-on-one that what is going on, because we need to change this.
So I have a question
Yeah,
for you
of
on
course.
that, on the failing stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're looking at the grades and you're looking at what they're learning, I guess at that point in time, is it because, do you think that they're actually behind? I mean, when I look at this, I take my work, or I see lots of failing grades, and especially in the 6th grade. I mean, are they technically not at a 6th grade level? Is that part
A
of the
lot of the students are not at a 6th grade level coming into middle school, both in math, reading, and writing. They are coming in struggling.
struggling?
I think we're still seeing the remnants of COVID.
And
We're
that's
starting to work our way out of that. I do
Mhm.
believe it's getting better, especially in reading and writing. We're definitely seeing improvement using the races. The races is being used throughout the district, and we're definitely seeing improvement in that. Math is still a really big struggle. So I definitely think that's part of it. I don't know, and that's also why I want to. What is going on? Yeah, it's there's a big question mark. Yeah, why? And I kind of was going back to, okay, when I was a teacher, how did I get the best work out of the kids? Because I'm gonna brag for a minute, because I would have teachers come to me and go, Tony, how did you do this? I have these students and they're not doing this for me. So I was trying to think, what did I do different? And I think a couple of the biggest things is I expected it. I said, no, this is not. I know you can do better. And I said that over and over and over. And okay, let's keep working on this. I expected it from them. And the other thing was I showed examples. The minute I showed them, look at this, let's talk about this. Why is this an A? All of a sudden their work quality started going up because they saw, oh, that's what I need to do to get an A. So they need those exemplars. They need those examples. What does it really take to get that? We are doing that in the races. I showed that last time. We're showing them what does that mean. So I think that's going to help a lot. But just you can do it, believing in them and not accepting junk from them. That's not acceptable. You can do much better. And the other thing is show their work, put it out in the hallway. If you put it out in the hallway or put it up and their name is on it, all of a sudden that work quality also goes up. So there are things that we can be doing that we need to really be doing for these students. This is what's coming up. So on the left here, this is my show and tell. Next week is Career Week. As of last year, it went to Career Week. So this was part of the Gear Up grant too. I think it's really cool.
That is cool.
So we will have this put up outside right above the front door. Right above the front door. It will go up for next week so that everybody can see this. And so we have, I think right now we have 16 different careers coming. And that is on Wednesday that the students will be doing. Teachers right now are signing up and putting them into sessions. So that's going on right now. So really exciting. We tried really hard to get some careers that we haven't had before. Kim Vela's son is in law school, so we have a lawyer. Yes! I've been trying for years to get a lawyer. So very excited to have a lawyer. We have Creighton Helms is coming for Coast Guard. We have the Oregon National Guard, so we've never had either Coast Guard or Oregon National Guard come. So we do have a few. We have a content media creator coming, so it should be really, really cool. Great day. The students really love this day. And then we'll do different, because of the Gear Up grant and some money, Aloha, my counselor has gotten a whole bunch of stuff that has colleges' names on it that we'll be giving away and doing for different things. So that's very, very cool. Bushnell is listed because in 2 weeks, the 7th graders will be going to Bushnell for the day, also paid for by Gear Up. So that's around Eugene area is my understanding. It's a private college. So how we're doing it is we're having the 6th grade go to a community college, 7th grade goes to a private 4-year college, and then 8th grade goes to OSU. So they get to see a little bit of everything. So, and then on the right, those are pictures from previously from outdoor school, because in a week, Aloha and Lucas Hill and myself are going over to the high school to talk to high school to get them pumped up to sign up to be counselors for outdoor school. So we're going to be starting to talk to them and get them going on that. And that might be it. Is that it? That must be it. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you guys.
Oh, and I love seeing those prizes. Some of those are some good prizes for attendance.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was from Julie. She did some of those.
Nice.
Prizes. Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Dusty, you're next.
I'm sorry, there's a lot of clicking in there, but we're gonna go pretty quick.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh,
So,
you
But not really.
So, okay, so over the last few weeks, been learning lots at the high school. And I reassured the staff when I got there, I'm not gonna shake the boat, and we have shaken the boat. But truth be told, I think this stuff really exciting. You know, I think there's some really exciting and encouraging things happening there. But the boat has been shook. And one of the things that we really began addressing immediately was student expectations. I mean, it just became very apparent that the vape sensors were exploding. it just was completely unmanageable. How many notifications we were getting. The hallways were fairly flooded. Hoodies, earbuds were issues in the hallways. Walking to classrooms, cell phones were issues, and so we've addressed that pretty quickly. But we try to do it in a very deliberate and intentional way. And so a lot of it was bringing the staff on board. So we had very extensive conversations with the staff and really getting that buy-in. And I think overwhelmingly the staff have really wanted, but it's hard when you're like the one person standing out there. You don't feel like you've got the support or the collective, support to make it happen. So I think overwhelmingly the staff have actually been really on board with doing it. But we were doing a reboot on expectations. And so really coming to terms of like what our intervention plan was going to be and what our steps were going to be, and holding not just students accountable, but also I was very clear with the staff, and this is how we're going to hold staff accountable too. And so was pretty candid. Like if you're caught not following that cell phone policy, for example, like here's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 for you, just like we did for the students. And so I think that level of kind of accountability, I think there's some teachers who I think were struggling with that kind of drawing the line. I think it gave them some added confidence, and so just to share a little bit, we then, after we worked with the staff, and again, this was over multiple sessions, and then talking to different stakeholders, and then talking to other schools in the region, and just really trying to get a lot of feedback from the district, from building level leadership, because we wanted this to go well. And then we pulled the whole school in for an assembly, and then we went back to advisories, and then we had students re-sign another contract. In the end, a lot of the policies were existing policies, but really being very clear and consistent in how they were going to hold kids accountable to them. And then what was changing was our interventions, and what we're going to do in response. So I was walking through just a few highlights from the assembly. Just again, the point of school is to learn how to learn, but to learn to love learning. And so the next one, in some early conversations we had with industry partners, they were sharing with us what is it that employers are actually looking for in new hires. And so what is it that we need to be learning in school? And what was really surprising is what they shared. And so what they shared is it's actually not the hard skills, the things that you know how to do, because they can teach all that on the job. It's the soft skills, or it's the character, it's who you are. And so we really emphasize this with the students. And this was shared to us from MWAC and from the WCA, and it stuck with me. It resonated. Like, one, they need people who show up. They need people who show up on time and to show up drug and alcohol free. And it just like, when it was worded that way, I was like, oh my goodness, like as a school, then our number one priority, non-negotiable is to help high school kids show up on time, not just in the morning, but to every single one of their classes, and to show up drug and alcohol free. And so we share this with the kids. So then we went through quickly, I'll walk through, then kind of re-hitting some of these expectations. You can click it several times. Okay. So again, like attendance showing up is the number one indicator for success. And I'm shocked at how many high school kids struggle to show up. And not just show up to school, but then show up to class. And so 90% of attendance is what we're aiming for every single student. And again, like it doesn't matter why you're gone. An absence is an absence is an absence. And it all leads to a gap in learning. On the next slide then, talking with Dandy, so there's this 90% attendance requirement for graduation. We decided to do a reset at the semester, and to now hold that 90% and hold it really hard. And so to walk in graduation, it's 90%, but it's going to be for second semester. We did allow for an 80 to 90% hardship application, meaning if there's extenuating circumstances, why you were in that 80% range, we will hear that request, and it's actually going to go to the district level to approve that. And then the community service hours, again, we're holding kids to this as well. So it's 10 hours as a freshman and sophomore, and then 15 hours as a junior and senior. And so really helping students just understand those expectations, and they're really supporting them in that. And there's been countless parent meetings, student meetings, like there's been a lot of legwork behind all of this as well. The bathroom passes, this is the one that's caused a lot of the hoopla, whatever word you want to call it. But the reality is that kids are in the hallway a lot, and the same kids are in the hallway every period all day long. And it blew my mind. Like we know who the 10 boys are. Like, why the heck are they always in the bathroom together every class period all day long? And so, but again, I think teachers need to be like empowered and told you don't have to let them go. And so we actually expanded from a 4 to 5 minute passing time. We installed barriers between the urinals, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but nobody would use the urinals, right? Because they don't want people messing with them, or so we installed, give them some privacy, make the bathrooms a little more functional. And then what we did is outside of passing time and lunch, you can have one bathroom pass per period per week. Which, truth be told, I mean, it ends up still being a lot of times that you can go to the bathroom, but all the pushback of kids have coming in complaining about UTIs and all sorts of stuff. And so we've had rich conversations about this.
We need more nursing hours.
Yeah. But the reality is, when I was a teacher, it was 2 passes per semester. And so I just tell them, I reassure you, like, the team was much softer than I would have been. But it has made all the difference. You walk in the hallways now and they are calm. When that music goes off, you look down the hallway and they're empty. And so again, I think just coming in is holding kids accountable. Yes, they grumble, they complain. Some have taken to social media or other, ways to vent. But the reality is, when the music goes off, where are they at? They're in their classroom. And where are they staying? In their classroom, And so the next slide. And then the cell phone policy. And I will just say that I pride myself as a classroom teacher, now as an administrator, I can catch the phone from quite the distance. I'm really good at catching those. And so, but really helping staff and telling staff, like, you are like actively being held accountable to monitor. You can't just say, well, I didn't see it. Like, no. Like, it is your responsibility to see it. And so really pushing that hard. And the board policy was that it could be on your person. We made a collective agreement as a staff. We did not want it on the person. And that's actually what the handbook says. And so we're taking a harder stance. I think every staff agreed that having it here was just going to be way too tempting. And so it is not on the person. It's in your backpack, it's a locker, or it's in the office. And this is an adjustment too for kids. And so we've been pushing that, and we just made it very non-confrontational. We have all these beautiful envelopes, and you just literally walk up to somebody and just hand them the envelope, and they write their name, they put it in there, and just it disengages any power struggle. And then if they don't, they come down and we get to have a conversation. Today I worked with a young lady. It took 10 minutes, but in the end, her phone was in that envelope and she was off on her way. And so, but just really helping to like empower teachers and to disengage from the struggle with kids. Next slide. And then this was really important, was just to very clear so far as the expectations. And nothing here is new, but just to really hold to this. So we did do a reset at the semester, and we've been hawkish with this. And it's awesome to see more and more teachers who were not hawkish before, who are now with the plan. And so I think we've seen some pretty dramatic changes here. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, and just like their parents are glued to them, so are their kids. And so it's going to take some real shifting. But again, like, I think we're really committed to this, and I think we're going to see some pretty dramatic results. We've addressed dress codes and hoodies.
So the envelopes, when are those used?
Yeah, so like every classroom teacher has them.
Yep.
I carry them in my pocket,
Yep.
and if you're just walking down the hallway with your earbuds in, we'll just walk over to Henry and just hand it to you. You just pull your device, you stick it in there, you write your name, you hand it back to me, I take it to the office.
Okay,
That's it.
so that's when they're caught.
When they violate.
So
Yeah.
when they're violating,
Yeah.
that's what the envelopes are.
Yeah.
And then they go to the office.
Yeah, just go to the office, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
But in every classroom, there's lockers. In the office, there's lockers. No kid wants to use those, so put it in your backpack,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
and so
All right.
yeah. Eventually,
You're doing great, Dad.
I don't know.
it's baseball work.
I think the tech.
Don't give up your day job, Dave.
I know.
So addressing the dress code as well, and again, just the hoodies off. It's just being very, very consistent. It's a big complaint of kids of, well, how come you told me not to, but you let them walk by? And so again, we're very consistent with every single student. Okay, the vaping. So this has been a big one too. It shocks me. Like, I'll just be candid. Like, I've never drinking caffeine. I've never had nicotine, marijuana, like alcohol, like ever. So like this, like I'm learning a world here that I've been unawares, and that's not naive. I mean, I've coached and taught a lot, but I'm learning a lot from this. And high school kids are darn sneaky, And but so again, like when those vape sensors were just exploding, my first days, like I had so many things to do and learn. I was like, I can't do this and expect to get anything done. I can tell you that it went on social media, and there's some comments about it, but like we celebrated our first 2 vape-free days with popcorn and ice cream. The days this week have been like silent. And so again, like when part of that is when we snagged the key players. And so we have some that are on out of school suspension pending expulsion hearing for distribution. We've got others that have had out of school suspension, in school suspension. Like we got some on behavior plans, and like word gets out pretty quick. Now I'm not naive to say that they haven't found other ways or places, but I can tell you like it has plummeted, absolutely plummeted. We've got staff who are very present. We turn the alarms on. That's actually what made the difference. We turn the alarms on, all of a sudden it just goes off, and you walk in and you're like
screeching at
yeah, it's like a fire alarm. Fire alarm goes off. Some kids like, I almost pooped my pants. We grab them, we take them to the office, and yes, we've been doing searches. Like, kids hate it, but the reality is like it has just gone down like this. And we try to do it with dignity, with respect. And again, like on those initial searches, we also made the stance of like, hey, like if you're in that bathroom and that sensor goes off and we don't find on you, that's one. On two, on three, we just assume like that is you. And so just like we communicate, like, hey, check it out. Like if it wasn't you, then don't be in there with those guys, right? Like you know. And so, but again, like it's made all the difference. And so it has gone quiet. And it also helps to walk in and just kick boys out of the bathroom. We're just hanging around the urinals. But that's helped a lot. And then we talked about just again the things, and it feels invasive for kids. Like, what do you mean? Like you can search me? What do you mean you can search my car? What do you mean you can even bring a dog in? But again, I think it just helps kids to know, and we're pretty clear with them. Like I hope you don't do that, but you're not going to do it here.
Right.
So whatever you do out there, don't bring it into our school. So we've been very clear about that message. Okay. But I think at the same time, like we've tried to work really hard on preventing. We've tried to work really hard on catching. We've tried to work really hard on disciplining, but also on the sport. The sport's really critical. So these are kids who are struggling and they're coping, right? And they're self-medicating. They're trying to numb something, and that the vape's not going to really fix any problems. And so we can skip over this. This a lot of the stuff we're doing kind of to respond. But again, like Guadalupe Lopez, she's amazing. When you look at the district, we've got the best nurse. We've got the best. She's a student advocate, but substance use counselor. We've got the right people to work with these kids who totally relate and connect. We've got classes they take. So again, it's trying to like balance that, like catching them and having consequences, and then pouring in a lot of support, because that's what these kids really need. Okay, so how's it going? I've shared like, and we'll share in our next board report some really detailed like the data. But I can say like there's been a lot of hustle, a lot of legwork, and there's an amazing team. You know, you look at Julie Powers and Doug Lawler, Becky Miller, and Masala, you could not pick a better team in that front office who really care, who really want to get the right work done. And so that's been fantastic. And so I think there's been some pretty dramatic results. And just a couple highlights. So yes, there was a walkout, student led, and we communicated out with staff, tried to be on the very front end of that ahead of time, and to say we are not encouraging, promoting, but nor are we stopping. You know, and so kids exercised that right. It was a little bit hard up just to be candid, because going out there's kids dashing back and forth across the road, including 999E. We had at least 3 cars that were burning, you know, cookies in the middle of the intersection on 999E. It was decided that again was like off campus. It's not us. So we communicated with Oregon State Police. We communicated with Juris Police. They didn't want to come over because they thought they were going to get attacked. So no one's going to attack you. Just park your car. Just Juris Police. Yep, that was what you know. Officer Navarro was concerned.
So if there was something happening, you know that they wouldn't be.
So I reassured him it is not hostile. It's not hostile. But go park your car over there. I never saw the car over there. I was told they were considering. I know Oregon State Police came by, but then they told us they weren't going to stay. And so, but anyway, we had to make a decision, as hard as it was, to like there's nothing that going over there that we could have done that would have changed the outcome. And there was some stuff afterwards online, but I would say generally, I think kids were fairly respectful. Now, that being said, you look at 100 kids walked out of the building, and I'm not a good math person, but I'm counting about 30. And so anyway, so I think a lot walked this way and then just took off the other way, you know, so, but,
What's going on?
Yep. And then just a few quick highlights. So I think one of the really exciting things happening, you can skip, is the CTP athletes. So we met with SEDCOR and one of their educational partners to come in to see if they could like amplify our CTE programs. And after we laid it all out with Lindsay, they're like, there's nothing we can add. You guys are doing awesome. And so that was like a really good feeling of like, Lindsay, like you're building a really great program. And so just you walk out into these spaces and it's really inspiring. What kids are doing, it's fantastic. Unified had on the right this amazing game versus staff and parents, really inspiring. Seeing all the staff out there, Suzanne Bustamante did an amazing job with her team, with these kids. Again, just a beautiful thing that's happening on campus. And you met two of our amazing students tonight. And so it was really sweet after having dealt with so many vapes and phones and like all sorts of different, like just all the hard stuff. On Friday, I got to pull in some pretty amazing kids announcing their valedictorians. I got to call their parents. And, basically it was like this, hey, Jenny, I'm here with Mr. Loyler. You're on speakerphone. I had to pull your daughter into the office. And like, oh, perfect. And then the announcement. But it's so awesome just to be able to brag on speakerphone about their kid and then to hear the parent brag about their kid while they're sitting and listening. And just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so just wonderful. And then I think we're highlighting again the reason why we do this kind of stuff. We have a student here, 6-year senior, who just days ago she graduated. And it is a tribute. I told her, like, I asked her, how many kids would have done this? She's like, nobody. But you did. And I want you to be so proud of this. But behind that effort was a lot of hustle for people who never gave up on her. And so it was this beautiful one-off graduation ceremony. But again, I think this is why Jervis does what we do, because it's all about relationships. And the staff really care about the kids, and they're never going to give up. And so I just love this. Never give up on a dream just because of the time it will take to accomplish it. And then we kicked out a video today to all staff. Again, with this message, we are Jervis and the Access team. We're going to kick it out to the whole community. It's the trans, Avery and Angie. And again, just a beautiful tribute to the community, to the schools, to Dandy, but just feel very, very blessed. It's hard work, but it's good work.
Awesome. Good job.
You have a lot on your plate and you're doing fabulous. So thank you.
Bring it in there. Yeah. So, okay. Well, thanks so much.
Thank
you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Parents report is just as exciting. We've been vaping in the bath.
Yeah.
That was the most exciting one I've heard in
I love it.
all the years, pretty much.
How long have we had the vapes, the sensors?
Well, the sensors have been going off ever since we had the vapes, but I didn't know that there were levels of turning them on. Like I don't have any training on them, right? So, and every time the sensor goes off, you get an email notification. So then you've got your staff running around trying to check, like, was it really that time? What time was that? Well, do we have the cameras? That so there's all the, but apparently there's this alarm that like screeches at you, and so then everybody stops and looks.
Yeah,
I know.
But they have to find their little hiding places as well.
And we've been finding the hiding places.
Yeah.
That
I wanted to leave a little note that said, do better.
Yeah. that first week that they were, Julie a couple times was gloved up in the bathroom. Like, oh. Yeah, so it was good. So
I know she came in when they had that no vape alarm day, which is so exciting.
yes,
This is like that's so great news.
that's the kind of stuff we're celebrating.
Yeah.
I start small.
I didn't know that it was like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would hear it sometimes, but anyway, yeah. So he's like I said to him today. I said, when the horse gets out of the barn, it's difficult to put it back in. You have to put the horse back in the barn so you can do all the other stuff you need to do.
Yes.
And they're making incredible
Well,
progress in that. Just
I think the buy-in from the teachers,
Yeah.
all of them have to
Mhm.
help, because there was loose clogs in the
Yeah.
system and they weren't, so it was hard for the kids to really buy into it now. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear. Glad to hear no hoodies also. That drives me nuts. So that's just my opinion. Hard to be on that.
Okay, Karen, your turn.
All right, well, I'm gonna just touch briefly on my board packet and then we're gonna move into something pretty important. So, 50%, 58% of the year has elapsed as far as this board report. We're 7 months into it. We have implemented a district-wide spending freeze. We have spreadsheets out to all the buildings. If they want to buy something, we put it on the spreadsheet and get permission to buy because we're just really kind of clamping down on spending this year. Tax wise, we're in a good place as far as collections for the general fund, but also our bond collection is looking like we're going to hit right where we need to hit. We want to collect the right amount with just a little bit left over in that fund. We don't want to over collect, and we certainly don't want to under collect because we need to pay our GO bond debt payments off. So the ending fund balance projection was at about 1.124 million. That's considering we did take 25,000 of the interest and move it over to a special fund, which we will talk about as we go along. It still is, it's at that would be a 7.45 contingency percentage there, with our budget being 7.5 for the ending fund balance, which I still have hope that we get, right in there at that number. And I kind of did a little bit of a paragraph on, when we talked about 1% change, ending fund balance discussion, just wanted to kind of clarify some things like this. The minute we set our contingency amount or a projection for an ending fund balance, the minute we set it, it's wrong. Because it's just there, we try to do our best to kind of project what it's going to be, but there are so many things that can impact a year. And, one of the things that can impact it is the state school funds. And the fact that if we have a big school district like Portland, who may be underreported students, and then all of a sudden they bring in all these students, it affects all of us because they take money from all of us through the state school fund. So all those numbers, the whole state numbers, impact our state school fund when it gets down to it at the very end. So there's always things that impact it, but we do our best. And I feel like we have set a good contingency amount, and I feel like we're going to get real close to that. So if there were any specific questions about my board report, it seemed almost pretty close to what it was last month. So
I guess again, my concern is just that we're going down. And it might not seem like that much, but we have how many more months of school, and if every month we go down that much, we're going to be below that 1 million. So what are we truly predicting here?
Well, I would say what I'm predicting is that within 1%, like we've set it at 7.5, we will be somewhere between, 8.5 and 6.5, somewhere in that middle. I don't see that changing. Like I said, I did take some money out of this balance, which kind of affected it too. So it would have been closer to, 1.150 with that in, which we will talk about that as well. And some, so there's just, I feel, I can't fully predict what's going to happen, but we try to set this the best we can. And then we look at how it's going as the year goes on and kind of reflect that to you.
Basically, as long as you stay within a range, which is what I would expect.
Yeah.
At this point, you can't. You're saying between 6.7 and 8%, right?
Right. It's like
you
say like a 1% off
either
of
way.
what we set it at, which is what is 7.5. I believe that is completely something that
It's
we look at.
reasonable.
Yeah, because our fluctuation, even though you see that equal to like 0.5% is the difference in that.
But I one of the things I did notice in here is that you were requesting to start a transfer from the charter school account to move 50,000 each year into the turf field maintenance fund.
Right.
So I've always considered our charter school funds like just
ice cream money, right? That's what you call it.
So I guess my question is shouldn't we have this new turf field, which we know that we need to be putting money aside for maintenance and stuff, but shouldn't that have come from the water and other things that technically should have been
Saving, I guess.
well, saving, but shouldn't we have already had an account basically associated with the
Oh,
football
for the
field?
football field.
Yes, and all that other stuff, so I'm thinking
We did,
why,
we
Did we have
didn't
that?
have something separate from the football field, like we didn't have anything where this is just solely the water for the football field.
Okay.
But we can certainly look at those figures. The unfortunate thing is a lot of utility things continue to climb too.
Mhm.
So, but we will definitely take a look at the water and
Well,
see,
but the water comes from the well.
oh, that water's from the.
Yeah,
so
that's
that
well
really won't
water.
impact it.
But at the same time, no, we're not.
electricity, I'm just thinking,
Yeah,
I mean, maintenance, field maintenance, right? I mean, how much?
yeah, they're not having to line the field anymore.
Not having to cut the field,
They're not having to cut the field. They're not having to
so there would be. some
eradicate
maintenance.
the pests.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I don't understand why we would move that money from there. I mean, it feels like we gotta find it somewhere.
But what associated cost is on that turf field? I mean, what is that?
It's-
What is our cost?
How many years is it where it has to be
So it has to take it doesn't take the test. We administer an impact test by a certified
Uh-huh.
inspector. And they say that these fields are lasting anywhere between 12 and 15 years as long as you're doing the yearly maintenance. So we know the yearly maintenance is this machine that comes in and it fluffs the,
Oh,
they're not called
the little-
pellets,
the-
but I don't know what
yes.
little black.
I would
ones
call
are
them
called.
pellets.
Pellets.
Yeah.
And that costs about $3,500 a year to have that person come out and do that. So yeah, that is a cost that we have to have
And that's,
of the yearly maintenance. of
and
the
that's
field.
basically, oh,
And that would be it,
Yeah.
unless like one of the lines rips up, and that's under warranty for a couple of years. I think the idea of having a special dedicated account for this turf field or replacement of the turf, both softball and the football field. And
Sure,
it doesn't have to be FCA, but it is our ice cream money, as you said, as I've said. And in 15 years, none of us are going to probably be here. And so my fear is that if we don't put things in place, that then like 7 years down the road, everybody will have forgotten about it. And all of a sudden, 12 years down the road, the field needs to be replaced and there's no money for it.
and there's no thought of it.
And there,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like it's not
Wait.
in the.
I mean, I might be like deja vuing in my own mind, but I thought we discussed this in a prior meeting of the idea of putting something
Mhm.
away for
yeah.
it. I don't
And
know
we
if
just
decided
weren't sure
from
exactly
there
where to
or-
take the money from.
Gotcha.
And as you get more information about what's happened with PERS, like you'll see where I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's going to happen, but we still want to move forward with this for now. But maybe the PERS issue will resolve itself, not, at the state level. And so then we don't have to dedicate the ice cream money, but we know in our budget, we got to take money every year and put it there. And the other pieces that I would recommend, I'm going to put all of this in a document so that when I sail off into the sunset, there is a record of it. But in 2033, the the loan for the middle school expires. That's $245,000 a year. I would then at that point say, if the fund allows it, if the general fund allows it, that you take whatever more money you need to fill the pot for the field replacement and just do it. Just put it there. And now you've got $600,000 sitting in this account that will generate interest and you don't even have to worry about it. It's just done. So,
and why did we choose $50,000 to move that much money?
well, because in theory, if the field lasts 12 years, you would need about $50,000 a year for the next 12 years to.
Oh, so you're looking
You
for
have
the
to-
replacement is
yeah.
what you're
Yeah,
saying. You're not
right.
just looking for.
Well, we
maintenance
have the
money.
funds.
And
No.
it's there, so.
Yeah. Because let's suppose that, in 3 years, Frontier Charter goes away.
There,
Then,
there's my
then I would also
Yeah.
say anything left in that account that has the first order of business is to make sure that we've got these fields
Yeah.
taken
Yeah.
care of.
No, I'm fine with that.
So,
I didn't know that was the end goal, was to
yes,
take that out
so that
every
it's
year,
just
so-
like, just like when you're saving for a vacation, right? You try to do a little bit every month because in 2 years you want to take a big vacation.
Nope.
So anyway, we can go more into that about what that looks like.
And you're just saying we're thinking of using that for right now, but it could come from other
It
places.
could definitely come
Come
from
from
other
other-
places. The board that, you know, you would have a discussion with whoever me is in the future. And
Or they
Karen.
can, because
And it would be like, hey, you know what, the general fund looks really good. We in theory could have a 9% ending fund balance. You know what, we don't want to do a 9% ending fund balance. We want to be down at 8%. So we're going to take that 1% and put it in the football field. The other thing that I would recommend, and this is kind of getting into the other piece, is that we have not had the ability to establish a reserve PERS account that is just like our own individual savings account. I would definitely recommend doing that as we can, and to continue that into perpetuity. Because
it's never going away.
well, the report we got is that tier 1 and tier 2 costs are beginning to stabilize. That's a euphemism because they're dying.
Oh.
And with that is not a win.
No.
I don't want to hear that. And so, yet it will be several decades before it is.
That's what
it's
they're
not-
banking
I was gonna
on.
say,
It's
you know,
ridiculous.
Yeah. So, anyway, so that was what Karen was saying about the turf transfer 50 grand
Yeah.
a year.
And just, that was kind of a talking point, sorry, I hit on that one too, but yeah, it wasn't a decision now. It's
Just a discussion,
discussion.
because we know that there's a lot to be thinking about between now and when we actually set the budget. So let's
Be proactive.
be
Right.
proactive, give you guys time to think about it, pose questions to Karen and I so we can do the research and come back. So I think that's it for Karen's report right now. I want to do my report real quick and then we'll go into the PERS piece. So as you heard me say with Sarah, there's some teaching and learning that I'm going to be addressing at the elementary school with regard to 4th and 5th grade reading. It is not just a Drury School District issue. They're seeing that across the state because so much money has been put into early literacy, you know, K3. So it would be natural that we've got some 4th and 5th grade needs happening there. Most of the Hive activity and the tutoring is all early literacy stuff, and so we need to figure out a way where we embed more implicit and direct instruction into all of our core content areas, starting in 4th grade. So it's not going to do kids any good to pull them out of their 4th grade or 5th grade class and give them individualized reading instruction, because that's not what the problem is. It's the problem they don't understand the science textbook. They don't understand the social studies textbook. So you need to teach reading within that content area. And I don't know that our 4th and 5th grade teachers are really reading teachers like that. So it's a shift and it will require training. So we're going to come up with a plan on how we're going to tackle that for next year. But I wanted to have that conversation earlier so that maybe we could pilot a couple of things this spring to see if there's any return on investment, just making a quick change. So really focused on that, focused on making sure that our high school, starting in the 9th grade, that every teacher in every content area is providing students with an opportunity to take the practice assessments. Because I think part of our low scores at 11th grade, and not just ours, but statewide, is because the tests don't mean anything to kids, so they don't care. But also they haven't seen the test since they were in 8th grade. And most of their teachers haven't seen the test ever, unless they teach at 11th grade. So just the logistics of the test they've forgotten what tools there are. They've forgotten the test taking strategies. What we're hearing in the feedback from teachers, since we've been forcing them to do this interim assessment using the state samples, is that, oh, I've been phrasing my questions wrong. I didn't realize that that's how the state assesses that idea. I've not been teaching it that way. So I think our kids have more knowledge than what they're demonstrating, even say in 8th grade science, but we're not providing the instruction in the same way that the state is laying it out. So I equate it to a driving test, right? We don't just tell kids, okay, you're gonna take the driving test next week and not give them any directions or instructions and like spring it on. So they're not gonna do well. So we'll be very purposeful on that. The other thing that's really exciting is that I had a conversation with Lindsay McCarter a couple weeks ago, asked for his help in pulling together some numbers and some ideas about what it would cost us to put together an HVAC electrical program. It would be a regional program, and so it would be like Willamette Career Academy, but it would be housed here in Jervis. And then there's another one that's going to happen in Polk County, not electrical, but something different. And then, and so that was always the idea behind Willamette Career Academy, is that once we got it established, that we then continued to branch it out into other areas. And so for whatever reason, well, I know why, Mountain West likes us, and the Epping Foundation, I met with them for an hour or so a few weeks ago. And so they're very interested in constructing a building for us, outfitting a building for us.
That's so cool.
And, of course, we'll tap into partnerships and
Yeah.
to get other relationships established there. And the idea would be that kids from Mount Angel, Silverton, North Marion, Woodburn, St. Paul, Salem Kaiser, if they needed to come in, would come in. They'd pay a slot fee like we do with Willamette Career Academy. And Lindsay was really excited about that possibility. And he did some really great work in helping put the document together.
That's
So
great.
I think it'll be pretty cool to see how that transpires.
Cool.
So, yeah. And one other, you'll notice on your seat there that there is this little card. I'm asking if you guys would be willing to each individually write a thank you card to Mountain West and Larry. I will send you the name
Yeah.
by text. And so if you could
Perfect.
just write the card and then drop it off here,
So,
or we
yeah.
can take care of getting it to him. And then once the kids get going with their arts program, and Sarah does her thing because that's a $100,000 donation he gave. They'll do something to take the project as well. And that from us if you could.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go into the PERS issues, unless there's anything else that you wanted from my initial report. Did you pass them out? Oh,
They're coming
Got it.
around.
Okay, I wanted to share some background about how this kind of bubbled up to the front. And so back in December, Baker superintendent got a phone call right before winter break from PERS that said, hey, Mr. Superintendent, just thought we'd let you know that your PERS site account is going to run out at the end of December. Mind you, this is mid-December, which means that you will not have any money left to pay your January and February obligation. So when you get your bill in March, not only will you have to pay January and February, but your payments moving forward are significantly more and will be more until, for the rest of the time. And that happened to 3 school districts that month. And
Thanks
so
for the heads
COSA,
up. Thanks for the heads up.
yeah, COSA got a hold of it and kind of was doing an inquiry, like what is going on? Why you can't, that's not how schools operate. They have budgets set, like, because they're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not just like 30,000. And what is going on? Like, you have a responsibility. You are monitoring these accounts. Why are you not sending people information that, hey, this is the status of your account, like on a yearly basis, like what are the real numbers? And so there was a lot of kerfluffle over all of that. And then, so when Karen and I went to the winter conference a couple of weeks ago, we went to a special session where COSA and Piper Sandler, who you recognize from doing our bond work, sat with us, a whole bunch of districts, not just us, and talked about where are we at with PERS and what's happening. So I'm going to give Karen the floor for now.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of move through this document that we created. And I want to start with the purpose of PERS because Leah, you weren't here when that happened. And so I'll kind of explain what the PERS bond is. So basically the PERS program, they kind of did faulty planning for the retirees. And so anybody who was hired before 1996, they're considered our peers tier 1 retirees. When they retired, they would start at a pay that was equal to the pay they were getting when they were working, and it kept going up at a guaranteed rate, where you know, here, that doesn't happen to us at the schools, you know, and so, I know there's a coach from, he's from University of Oregon, was making over $1 million in retirement a year.
Yes.
And we think it's probably a lot higher than that, 'cause that was a number of years ago when that came out. So what had happened is the PERS investment returns couldn't keep up with their plan that they created. And so what it created was an unfunded actuarial liability, which is called the UAL. It currently sits at about 28 billion, this unfunded liability. And the public entities have to absorb that cost. And so what happened is they created this PERS bond program to help offset the burden of these UAL impacts. And so what happens is when you get a PERS bond, and we did this twice, those PERS bond proceeds go directly to PERS, who invest the money in their pool of money. And then the general purpose of that is that the interest you make in that investment is greater than the amount you're paying for your PERS bond that you took out. And so the funds that you are collecting on the side because of the interest become your side account, and the side account is what's used to offset that unfunded amount, the UAL. So we currently have 2 PERS bonds. One of them was created in 2003, and it is set to expire 6/30 of 2028. And then we have a 2021 bond that we did with most of you here. And that PERS bond expires in 6/30/2024. I'm sorry, 2040. So combined to date, these 2 bonds have saved the district over $7 million. There's going to be continued savings from January 1st of 2025 until basically 2040 is when the last one ends. We're projected to have a total in savings that's over $9 million from having these bonds. So it was a good thing, you know, it really worked well for what it was supposed to do. But then there's a problem, and that was that the whole plan sets out that the side account balances go until the end of the bond. But they kind of had unanticipated payroll growth and then kind of underwhelming PERS investment returns. And between those two, our side accounts are set to run out a year before the debt payments stop. So that creates a problem. So do you understand?
Yeah,
That clear, that
those
part's-
people don't take care of money very well, in my opinion.
So
They already messed it up once, they're messing it up again.
yeah, so when COVID happened, right, everybody got all those crazy raises and bonuses and
Mhm. All that
that.
money dumped into,
and that
yeah.
everybody's amount that they made went up, or we had more employees who were earning money, which then sucked more of the interest.
Mhm.
And so it didn't occur to them to be recalculating that and giving people a heads up.
They're not very good money.
This is their profession.
Yeah.
Yeah. So currently, we have 3 different types of payment that we make towards PERS. We do our debt payments, and those are basically not directly to PERS. It's like a debt, so we're paying off our debt. And then the employer contribution rate payments, which has been that has been offsetting by our side accounts, where we basically aren't paying anything every month for that. And then we also have a 6% employee contribution payments. This 6% is called the IAP, and most school districts in Oregon do this too, but we pay it for our employees. It's considered a benefit that we pay that for our employees. So when that IAP, that 6%, in the figures that are on the following page, those are not in here at all. So, because that's just set, that's going to continue on, so that doesn't really, isn't really part of this puzzle. So if you go to the next page, what I'm showing you here are our bond debt payments and our employer contribution payments. So the first column, of course, is the fiscal year. The next column is what our yearly debt payments are. So going down, you see 25-26 and 26-27 are our largest debt payments of the whole time that we've had the PERS bonds, because it's kind of started about a $300,000 payment a year when we got it, and it just keeps increasing until the very end here. So those are a couple of years with our biggest debt service payments. And then when you get out down to 28, 29, that 258, that will continue. That's our remaining PERS bond, the 2021 PERS bond. So that payment will continue. You know, it'll change a little bit, but it'll continue down to 2040. Now, if you look at the employer contribution rates, you see our PERS 1 and 2 for 25, 26 and 26, 27, 2.32%. And that's because of our site account that it made it that low. OPSERP, 0%. The 2 years prior to that, both were 0%. So that's how good it has been to kind of help us with that amount. But then when we hit 27, 28, we're bumping up to 26.14 for our tiers, our PERS 1, 2, and 23.43 for OPSERP. And that will continue on for 28, 29. I will say that when you're looking at this as far as kind of differences, and you see the 2.32 going to 26, only about 25% of our payroll right now is in the PERS 1, 2 grouping, and 75% of our payroll sits at OPSERP. So that's kind of how it lays out as far as what we're paying in payroll. So now the next column, the yearly, this is an approximate for our employer contribution payment based on those rates, is you can see how low it is this year, 58,000. Next year, 60,000. And then we bump up with those high rates to 2.46 million and 2.77 million. So then I've added those together, the total debt and contribution payments, excluding IAP, and you see those totals, and so I would say if you look at 26, 27, that 1,707,000, that's what we're used to. But now we're going to take that bump and basically about double it the following year. So the outcome is basically the projected site accounts from our large 2003 PERS bond, which is the main reason our rates have been so low, is projected to be used up by June of 2027. And then while our debt payments for the 2003 bonds will continue through until June of 2028. It's another year of debt. So anyway, so that's not great. So the cost impact, if you look down to the little next section of numbers, so I kind of moved those highlighted figures from the upper box down here, because that's that combination of what we need. And then I took a normal progression. If we had normal payroll increases that you would see at about 5.4, what it would have been. So effectively, what's the difference of how much more it's going to be for us? And you'll see in 27, 28, it's over 1.5 million more. And in 28, 29, it's over 1.1 million. And that increase for 28, 29 doesn't go away in 29, 30, because we have, everything's the same. Unless something happens with our rates, they will be that same kind of a impact for the PERS amount. So we've looked at, some planned and then some possible actions that we can do. So this month, as I was talking about the interest income, we started taking, when we get our interest and putting it over to our PERS reserve fund. But that impacts our general fund ending balance. And that amount normally comes to about $150,000 a year. Another thing that we are, have already set up to do is, as Midco is repaying us, which has been very slow, we are going to put that into the PERS reserve fund, which will equal $105,000, and that's just a one-time movement into there. Excise tax transfers over the next 2 years. So we can use our excise tax to pay for these are some of the potential things now. So we're just kind of talking through these. We can use excise tax to pay for debt that was used to do construction projects. So our consolidated loan debt, which is about the 240,000 that Dandy was talking about, we can use those funds to pay that debt. Normally, we use general funds to pay that debt. So if we're not paying that debt with general fund, we can move it over to this PERS reserve account. And so that would be kind of a 2-year movement. Right now, our balance in the excise tax is 596,000, but that we get excise tax throughout the year, so that can grow as well. So the next one is the Senate Bill 1149, energy savings incentives to the PERS reserve fund. Now those funds currently sitting at 258,000, with additions that happen almost, monthly in there. Those funds are always given to us because we already paid for a project and we can move them anywhere we want to move them. So we're kind of slating that those could go into that reserve fund. We've set that 2 salaries are of people who have been most impacted by all the GeoBond activities, which basically is Dandy and Julie. They're spending a lot of time on GeoBond related things. If we moved, it would be a little more of Dandy's salary and this other person's part of their salary over into there. That's 54,000 a year, which would increase each additional year. And another option, of course, is going out for another PERS bond, but they're not even recommending it right now because of the interest rates. They're not where they should be for doing this, where you have the interest rate lower than, I think they said it was about a 1% difference between what they're making in investments and interest rates, which is not a good place to be. So it's something we're watching, but it's not time to do it at that point. There is something called a TAN pool borrowing program. It's kind of meant to be a short-term repayment of anywhere from 7 to 12 months, which is not ideal. It's more of a cash flow, like if you don't have enough cash to make ends meet. And some school districts don't have enough to get through June because we don't get a state school fund payment in June and we have a big payroll in June. So some school districts opt to do that because they know the money's double payments coming in July. So they might take that out for that kind of a purpose. It's not a good thing to use it for this kind of a situation, but it is an option. And then probably the worst option is workforce reduction because that's not good for our students.
And even with the workforce reduction, like I would literally have to lay off 25 people to get to this 1.5. So I'm gonna hand the entire elementary school staff.
Yeah.
Does every school district have a PERS?
Mhm.
Every school district.
Yes. And fire,
So it's not
police, city,
State,
state.
state, babe.
Anything associated with the state.
Monopoly.
So, and I think that these PERS bonds started around 2001, 2002.
Yeah, there was the first one that was sold in 2002. It was.
Yeah.
The people that went out for the PERS bond in 2008, of course, are the ones that got stuck in that Great Recession, and it's basically bankrupted Gladstone. They're gonna probably be swallowed up by, what did I say? North Clackamas.
Yeah.
Their superintendent has quit and has got a job in Tiger 12 now, and they're going under. So here's the thing, like this is a short. I'm going to call it a short-term cash flow issue because long-term this is not sustainable. Like you're looking at the monies that we're cobbling together, they're one time.
Right.
To get to $596,000 in the excise tax, that's taken us like the entire time I've been here, 6 years. So I do believe, we've all the districts have been polled about, are you interested in participating in the assessment? It's going to cost us about $1,000. And it takes like 7 or 8 months to do. So that is preparing for what would it look like to go out for another PERS bond. You have to do all this research and all of this analysis before you can actually decide. So at that point, they're thinking, okay, well, maybe it would be good timing next spring, a year from this spring. So we need to be ready to go if that's the time. So we are going to participate in that. The other piece of this is that you know, the short session is almost over at the legislative level. So, superintendents get together in April and we set the agenda for what are our big, like, legislative agendas for the long session. And everyone is talking about PERS. And so, and you know, the fortunate thing is it's not just schools that are in the, it's fire departments, police departments, cities. None of this is sustainable. So, I do believe that there's going to be a long-term fix for this, but that doesn't help us from July until July.
Right.
And at this moment in time, Karen, I think this 27-28 issue, right, like what we're trying to figure out is probably the worst case scenario. And so the other two pieces here that I kind of cut Karen off, if you want to
Just a couple other noted things. So switching to the GO bond, the ballot actually includes funding for bleacher, press box, and lighting. So we already had spent the lighting funds that we had taken from the charter school. That was $329. We can move that to the bond, and then we would have that building up our charter again, because it is our kind of emergency funds that we need to kind of be building back up if we can. So
I have a budget meeting next week with Scott to talk about where we're at with the budget for our projects. We're looking really good, like to the point we're looking so good where we're starting to add a bunch of things back in. And so he feels very confident that we're going to be able to more than meet the promise. And we haven't even touched the $1 million in interest yet. So if you were to decide, you know what, we're going to go ahead and reimburse ourselves for the lighting, because that was listed in the ballot, that if there were additional funds available, we were going to do this. You can do that. You can also do it for the bleachers and the press box. Sorry, that's a big word. That ticket is like $250,000 as well. So, but again, these are all one-time monies, right? It will stop the cash crunch for right now. But if they don't do something, then I will have to turn around and figure out how to cut $1 million away. And that will be through a combination of, I would bargain for reduced class days, reduced instruction days.
Yes, I'm thinking to myself, I mean, before we're not, just me thinking out loud. From a PERS perspective, I highly think that you're not gonna have any kind of actual taking care of dealing with this PERS issue in the next couple of years. I think you're gonna end up with this needed amount every year for probably 3 to 4. I mean, I cannot see the state working this fast to address this issue.
But PERS has several hundred millions of dollars in their own reserve account that they don't touch. So, and the state of Oregon has plenty of natural resources. They could sell the timber to a private industry before it burns down.
I completely agree with that. But
because we're not going to be the only Gladstone.
Right.
Like, they cannot let 197 districts go bankrupt. There's going to be way too much political pressure for that.
It's all because of their own doing.
I was just saying, they need to take some responsibility.
Yeah.
No, they do, but you know, by the time they actually do, it'll
It's
be
gonna take a bit.
complete. It will be, all I'm saying is by the time that they actually do something, I mean, I worked in timber for so long, and yet all they look to do is burn. I mean,
Yeah.
I was, you know, that's 25 years ago when I was like doing timber loans, and I'm like, my God, what are these people thinking? I mean, and they still, it's like, okay, just have a wildfire. Great. Sorry. I mean, so I'm just saying from that aspect, as you said, these are one-time fixes. So, I mean, we really need to look at the rest of our budget to say where is that we can cut, I guess, because I just don't trust. I wish I trusted it more, but
I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. The first part of the 1.5, like, in theory, we have 3 budget years to solve the problem. We have this budget year we're in. We have next budget year and then the year after, which will then also, the year after will also have to help the next year. And so I have a couple of other ideas, but I want to go into executive session to talk about that. It's listed there. I think I can get us there through 29. But it's gonna be painful. And the other piece is that I don't want to cut everything that we've done because then
Just take
It's
steps
just
backwards.
going backwards, yeah.
No, I get that too.
but literally I would have, like, if I even look at reductions at the middle school, like they literally they
How many wonder? I mean, look, half of them were gone.
there's literally nothing to cut.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of other staffing ideas, but I mean we had our legislative lobby days Tuesday there were 100 of us there, even though it looked like it was just Portland Public, it was all of us there. And they heard us. We believe that we're not gonna take a cut in this biennium because they're gonna access the stability fund. And so we really believe that and it's not just school districts, but it's everyone who's taking the hit from PERS, that we can make some kind of difference where maybe it's half that, right? The interest rates are going to go down. There will be a time where we can do another bond if we have to. It's just, will it happen quick enough?
Would it be a bond to pay off that bond?
I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to
No,
wrap up
I'm
more
just trying
debt
to
into
understand.
debt.
Yeah.
I want to get us through next year for 27, 28, where we're doing double payment. And then when we go out for another bond, we are just tackling this new debt. We're not rolling debt into debt.
Yeah, it would be to bring these rates down.
Yeah.
Bond.
That's
So
all.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I just.
And that brings these amounts way down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's all about the interest rate and
Yeah.
what you're selling it at.
Right.
So, no, and I get that. Yeah, it's just, right now those numbers look ugly. Really ugly.
They look ugly for a lot of people.
Yeah. So,
And they're just projecting these numbers, right?
well, no, this is
This is it.
this is gonna
This is locked
happen.
in. This is our.
This is gonna happen. We believe this is the worst case scenario right now. So we're gonna plan for the worst,
Okay.
hope for the best.
No pain, no gain.
So we wanted you to have this information so that we can come back and revisit it again in March. At our March board meeting to kind of get, like, if you have additional questions, some more guidance, like what's a hard no for you, what's a maybe. Again, by that time, we'll also have more definitive information about the actual bond costs. Scott Rose will be coming to that meeting, asking you guys to approve different allocations, because we've had certain numbers set at the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school. Well, now we're gonna know what all the numbers are, and we're just gonna, like, this is the number.
That 2003, do we know what that bond was for? Used for?
Say it again.
The 2003 bond, what was that used for? Or what was that?
PERS.
This was
That
all
this just
PERS.
PERS, just
Yeah,
all
the
PERS.
whole
Just
thing
PERS.
was PERS. Yeah.
This is not one that shows up like on your property tax statement.
Yeah.
And this is one that when you look at the increase, I mean, every single time you look at the expense of like labor and stuff, just up, I think it always keeps going up, and that's part of it. I mean, because
Right.
when people retire, you have to pay them. I mean, it's
I think I just need
These
to
monies, most of these monies are going towards people that are not working anymore.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, what would I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I've never been in so.
The other piece is that, good news. So, for this year, last year's legislative session, they did return like a percentage and a 1.68,
1.68, I think.
They gave everybody 1.6 across the board percentage point to lower your rate. they were saying that that's a one-time deal. But now we're hearing, actually probably not a one-time deal. We've got more money, so we're going to give it to you.
But I really appreciate you guys getting ready to go
Yeah.
out for another PERS bond. I mean,
Yeah.
that's gonna, you have to be prepared for this. I mean, it's, cause it's not, this away.
We went out
This
with two
structure.
different schools,
Yeah.
did we not? There's
Yeah,
no test.
the one in 2021, there was like 35 or 45 of us.
Yeah, there was a
You
good
guys all
group.
put it, we all put in a certain
Yep.
amount.
Yeah.
And so.
And that was because there were some people that had gone out in 2013, I think.
Mhm.
Our district had not. So now, there were probably, I think they said 80
In
that
the
went out.
2003?
in
Yeah, it
2003.
was a big one,
It was
and it was
huge.
very successful too.
Yeah, so you're gonna see a big number wanting
Like, do,
to
yeah,
piggyback on that, yeah.
All depending on what happens
Yeah.
with interest rates.
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Cause I mean, we just have no idea.
Yeah.
I can't even
Yeah.
predict. Every time I look or turn around, I'm like.
Yeah.
What's going on? I mean, so.
Okay, well, sorry, that was a bummer.
No, it isn't.
Oh, that's.
Isn't
Oh,
that?
good.
all-
I mean, I think what it is. Yeah. I mean, you guys are very proactive in figuring out where we can grab stuff from, so.
Well, I'm
thank
gonna
you.
tell you, when I got this news back in December, I scheduled my PERS return. I'm so harsh.
I would have been like,
It's
at
like-
what point can
I don't know if I can solve this problem. Like, I mean, I'm not a quitter, right?
No, but.
But I did talk to even another superintendent who's retiring unexpectedly. Said, I just don't feel like I have anything left to give that's going to make a difference anymore.
Ouch.
Oh, I don't like that. Well, like that.
Yeah.
So
Let's
So-
not do that.
we're not doing that. We're gonna find a way. So there we are.
Fine, it's fine.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Something's on fire, it's fine. It's fine, I'm looking at the budget.
No, right, yeah. Okay, that's all the happiness I have. Okay.
All right, moving on to consent items.
You have your license, contract extensions, they were separate pieces of
That's
paper.
Everybody good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, move Jervis School District number 1 board of directors approve the consent items listed in math. 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, and 5.
We have a motion, we have a second? Second. All in favor?
All right.
All right. Action item. Policy second reading. Does anybody have anything for the KLAR 2?
And move Jervis School District number 1 board of directors adopt and or approve changes to policies KL-AR 2 as shown in action items 02-26-8.1.
We have a motion, we have a second? Second. All in favor?
All right.
Oh, okay.
How many do we need?
Yeah, we need. What do we need?
I'm recommending that you set the number at 150, which you just approved last month. I think 150 is a good number for us.
And this also tells us we need to do out.
Up to 150 can transfer out, 150
150
can transfer in.
Okay.
I'll move the Jervis School District number 1 board of directors approves 150 students of transfer in districts and approves 150 of students out of district for school year 2026-27.
So a motion, we have a second? Second.
Who wants to claim it? Well, Maria was taking over.
No, I was just like.
Oh, aye, okay. Okay, fine. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I was skipping the part.
Oh, okay. Here's our article classified.
Does she read this first and then we do the motion or?
Well, you could just all take a look at it and then decide
Oh,
if it reads fine, then Jenny could just say, or someone could just move it as presented in the packet.
Okay.
Do you want
Yeah.
to go?
Yeah.
Right, so I move the Jervis School District number one Board of Directors approves March 2nd through the 6th of 2026 as classified appreciation week as declared by Board Chair Jenny Jones.
As stated in the packet.
As stated in the packet.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, classified.
Yes. All means.
Okay, now our layoffs.
Okay, so you'll recall, you don't know because you weren't here last time, but in order for us to enact reductions in workforce and layoffs, it has to be board action. I have no idea if we're really going to need to do that, because we might have some people resign or retire, and then I wouldn't need to do that, but I need you to give me the authority to do so because there's contractual obligations that I have to give employees notice.
Sure.
Okay.
I move Jervis School District number one Board of Directors approve the possible layoff reduction in force for years 2026 to 27 as presented by Ms. Stevens.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Discussion.
Okay, bond project update. So you're gonna have a really big update in March from Scott. And he'll also be giving the same information to the bond advisory committee that week or week before your board meeting. There are a couple of things that I'm gonna ask you to consider as well coming out of Frontier Charter money. Some of it might still be able to be attributed to the bond. So one thing we learned is that the curtain in the cafeteria, that's the stage curtain, is completely non-fire compliant. That's not quite how you say it, but whatever.
Can we spray something on it?
Yes.
It's sprayed, it's attached with coat hangers. I guess we've
wow.
never looked up. And it's duct taped.
How old is that?
So,
Oh, wow.
it's like 25 years
I
old.
was gonna say.
So, that is an expense. It's like $26,000. And so I've got some more information coming for that, and then also bleachers and the press box with the idea that I want to give you a list of things that need to happen in the district after we do this curtain. The bleachers and the press box, we know the bleachers are not safe, because the inspector has seen that we just kind of pinch them together with these weird little widget things and it's not compliant. So if we redo the bleachers, we have to get rid of the press box because bleachers have to move and be ADA accessible with ramps. So I think that whole project is probably going to be about $240,000. You have over $400,000 in Frontier Charter money still. And again, those two items were listed as additional projects that could be funded out of the bond. So they could come out of your $1 million in interest. So that then keeps your account level up. The other things that need to happen that are not covered by restrooms, remodeling the restrooms and the concession stand could be covered by the bond. That needs to happen. That concession stand and the restrooms need to be
Prisons.
They're a little blockish. They're a little blockish. Yes.
They're been there some day of time.
Yeah. And then your track will need to be fully resurfaced in 2029.
Okay.
And so, and that's going to be about $400,000. I adjusted it for inflation. So as we're trying to solve all of these budget problems, also be mindful of like things we know are going to happen. Like the track is going to fall apart. We have to resurface it. Sure. So, I will have it all outlined for you in March.
Gotcha.
So that's the bond update. Lots of good things happening there, though. It's fun.
Well, so we are doing some digging or something happening over there?
Yeah, we do. We have digging happening. You can see that. We have all but 2 of the permits. The one permit is both of them are critical. The one is the plumbing inspection that they can't pour anything, which they're now framing in until they get the plumbing inspection, and Marion County is struggling with it. And then we still do not have the permit for Jervis Elementary School, which is I'm giving them a countdown. Guys, you have 22 working days left you have 21 working days left. So I think the architects are bothering them every other day
good,
to try to get that,
Somebody.
so.
cause right now, we're not gonna. Timelines are pretty much what we were thinking. but-
Elementary school will be done in August.
Okay.
So will the high school remodel. It will be done. It's the middle school. It will not, that building will not be turned over to us until December. So we won't have a grand opening until January 11th is what we're planning. Big celebration, open house type of thing.
You gonna slam a big champagne bottle against the.
It's the, that's drinking everything. I'm not gonna waste it. Okay, so that's all I have for the bond updates at this time.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Reader boards are going in next week.
Oh, yay,
It's happening.
finally.
It's happening. I will take pictures and send it to you.
Excellent.
Okay, we have policy first readings, the board of director scholarship programs.
Yeah, so this is for, I thought we needed to have policy and an AR for how you give out the scholarships. So this is your first reading with the idea that you'll adopt it next in March, and then I can get it out to the high school too.
Yeah, thank you for doing that
Yeah.
too, actually, 'cause it's coming right up.
Oh my
right?
gosh,
Like,
it's like
March.
already, I know.
Yeah, and so like it said, no later getting out the
Yeah.
info than that, so.
Yeah.
And we know how it takes the kids a long time to get.
Yes.
This.
Okay, and were you wanting to know if the 14th works for our budget
Right.
committee
Is
meeting?
that it? So that was already identified as the second meeting, if we needed to have the second one, we've never had to have a second meeting. So if we do have to have a second meeting, we can wrap it up into your May regular board meeting. If you needed to do that, so
Oh, gotcha.
May 14th would be the first budget hearing. If you needed to have a second one, it would be the night of your school board meeting. Which is still totally fine.
Yeah.
Because you don't adopt the budget until June.
Is everybody good with the 14th on your calendars?
I'm at, yeah, I'm good, I'm adding. 6, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, if there's nothing else, then this meeting is adjourned and we are going to head into executive. I guess it's not adjourned quite yet.